today's video, we're going to be talking about making a very cheap little FPV pod that you can move from each of your model planes. In order to do this, you're going to need some hot glue. You're going to need some foam board. I've already cut it and glued it into the shape, but this will be pretty straightforward. You're going to need some Velcro. You're going to need a battery. In my case, I'm using a 1-cell battery, and then you're also going to need a camera. I'm using this little 3-in-1 camera. I think I got this for between $15 and $30. It was very cheap, and it would be ideal if you got one with a cloverleaf antenna instead of this style antenna. But this is what I have because I was building a tiny whoop FPV drone with it, and that exploded. So now I'm just left with the camera. I think the camera still works fine. I plugged in, it lit up, so it should be fine. But we will see. First step of the build is simply to take your foam board and make the tray that everything's going to sit on. In my case, I had to make this elevated platform because I had this the red plastic thing on my camera, and I hot glued it, and I couldn't remove it without damaging the camera. So this was for the top of the drone. I had it previously, and it's at an angle. So I had to create this little step to stop the camera from being at an angle. Now, I would still recommend putting some layers of foam so that the camera is elevated a little bit, because if the camera is right up against the body of the airplane, in your view, you're just going to see a bunch of the plane, which isn't going to be as nice as if the camera was a little bit higher up and you could see more of your surroundings. This doesn't have to be any particular size as long as it can fit whatever camera you're using and whatever battery you decide to use. The batteries I'm going to use are kind of long. Also, I do need to solder up a new connector because this connector is bigger than this one. I'll do that too, but you guys are probably not going to have to worry about that if you buy all the right pieces. I'm just using what I have, but the setup I'm going to have is it's basically going to look like this. Alright, let's get started. So the first step, once you've built your tray, is to glue the camera on. Now again, I'm gluing mine at an angle because I want my camera to be, because my camera is already at the angle, but my goal is to have the camera be completely straight. For my application, since I'm going to be flying fixed-wing airplanes, I think a completely straight camera is going to work better than having an angle. However, angle the camera however is best for the type of plane that you're going to put this on. And I'm going to make sure that I keep this at the correct angle the whole time. I'm not going to rush this step. I also want the camera to be centered on the tray. So as you can see, the camera looks pretty straight, and it's not centered at all actually, but now it's centered. We want it to also be straight from the top view. That's honestly probably one of the most important ones, because you don't want to feel like you're flying sideways. That would not be good. But yeah, so now the glue is drying. Should be straight from all angles: the top view, side view, front view. Now, you don't want to use too much glue when doing this because you're going to add weight, and the whole point of this is that you can put on multiple different airplanes. The lighter it is, the less effect it's going to have on the plane. But you do want this to be strong at the same time, so you have to just find the right balance of glue. Because if it's weak and you crash, this could easily break off, or if you're just doing some aerobatics, you do not want your camera to fly off, because by the time it takes you to take your goggles off and everything, you're probably going to crash your whole plane, and you're going to lose your camera. So that's not very good. Alright, so I'm just going to add a little bit more glue on the front just to make sure that it's nice and strong. It's always good to have something to like spread the glue out so it looks nice, because otherwise you're going to have big clumps of glue, and I personally do not like that look. It makes it look cheap, even though it is cheap. It's very cheap, which is good. We don't want it to be expensive, especially when you're going to stick it on top of an airplane and then probably lose it. So the next step in our build is to attach the Velcro. I just took my Velcro and cut up the pieces, the upper Velcro. Alright, there we go. We got Velcro on the bottom, Velcro on top. This should stick pretty well to an airplane. With this much contact surface for something this light, I don't think this is going anywhere, even if I'm flying fast, doing aerobatics, rough landings, even crashes. I'm pretty sure this is going to stay on the airplane. So yeah, I'm excited to try it out. So overall, I'm very happy with this. It's very simple to build. It should be very fun, and it's very cheap, which makes it stress-free. For this one, I was just using pieces I had laying around, but if I were to build one of these from scratch and buy all the pieces, what I would do differently is I would buy one of these cameras with a quote clover leaf antenna instead of this antenna, because those will allow you to get a better video quality at different angles. And when you're flying a plane, you're obviously going to be at many different angles. And then also I would not have this red plastic thing on the camera, because this adds extra weight. The whole thing is super light. It's not really a big deal. Removing as much weight as possible is always good. Yeah, apart from that, this should be pretty sick. So this is definitely a different style video than I have normally been doing. But I think I'm just going to experiment with different types of videos and see what gets traction and what I enjoy making. So today we were talking about something to do with the RC hobby. I'm also going to make more videos on the boat and other things like that. And we will definitely see what you guys like, what I like to make, and what the audience will be. So stick around, because we got good things in the future. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.